Firstly, I'd like to thank this Wisdom for inviting me for this online seminar. I also must thank the moderator, Mrs. Janki Raman. Did I get it now? Mrs. Janki Ram.
Yes.
And I would also like to thank all the lovely people who prayed in different secular prayers, because it's an amazing experience to listen to all the prayers. And I must say, despite the fact that all words I could not understand, but the very sound of prayers is so soothing, so calming. And I must also thank Mr. Ramesh for introductions and for the prayers, and Miss Jasmine, I must say it's amazing that you can read prayers in 3 different religious texts. That is quite an accomplishment. Thank you for that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So today, as the topic says, we are going to be discussing Vedic nutrition. But first, I'd like to give you a little journey of why Vedic nutrition started. So I trained as a medical doctor, and my first posting as a young doctor was in the Department of Cardiology at GB Pant Hospital, which is attached to Maulana Azad Medical College, New Delhi. And as a very young doctor, every day when I would go for duty, and it's a very large facility, 5 to 6 heart attack patients come. And obviously, it's impossible to save all of them, and you'd normally end up losing at least one patient every night. So the whole horror, you can say, of losing and seeing people die every day when you go to work, so I think it took a toll on myself. And I started questioning my whole medical training. And I found it very strange that as doctors, we wait for patients to have a problem and then come to us. It's almost like, suppose if you were going on a road and there was a big pothole on that road, and everybody knew there is this pothole. And instead of fixing the pothole, what we are doing is we are building hospitals around that. And then on top of that, we also say, oh, let's make it easy for people who are having accidents, give them also a health insurance. I think this whole system is not based out of inner wisdom. It is based out of a very material understanding of what life is all about. And it struck me as odd that why aren't we fixing the basics? Why are we letting people fall ill or have lifestyle disorders? Why aren't we training and teaching them at the right place? If suppose we didn't teach a child a lot of things, I think very few children would survive, because they would fall off a cliff, or they would burn their hand, or they would fall down. So as parents, all parents teach safety measures to their child. They tell them that this is safe, this is unsafe, this is something which you should be careful about. And that is why humans have survived. But one place, I think, as medical fraternity, we have not done enough for our patients is that we have never started what you can say, a whole thing, or a movement. We have never tried to start a movement that let's educate each and every person on the art of healthy living, and the art which each one of us have to understand, have to know, have to imbibe, because countless lives are being lost every day. Every day there are deaths happening because of blood pressure, because of diabetes, because of heart attacks, because of so many other problems which can be prevented. We don't need to lose those lives. So with that thought in mind, I started exploring that what is the way forward for a doctor to educate her patients, to set up an organization where we can educate our patients. And sadly, I did not find anything. I did not find any solutions. And then I started literally going in the dark and trying to find solutions by myself. So my first milestone or first stop was at nutrition. When I started looking at modern nutrition, I found very, very major flaws. So modern nutrition is full of major flaws, and the most popular, most commonly known flaw is that the modern nutrition is based on a theory called the calorie theory. The calorie theory is the most unscientific theory I have ever come across, because it was taken out of chemistry and put in human medical science, which is there is no correlation. When I say there is no correlation, because how calories are calculated, you'll be shocked to know, is that food objects, food products are burnt, and the heat which is released by the food object is called a calorie. And that is the saddest part, steam engines. So when this whole theory was being created about how to measure the movement of a steam engine, and we all know how steam engines run, that you burn coal, and when coal is burning, it releases heat, that steam is released, and that steam pushes the pistons of the steam engine. And this energy, which is a calorie, which comes from the Latin word change, required to change the water temperature by 1 degree. So obviously, in the body, there is no burning happening at all. In a body, what really happens is, suppose we chew an apple, the body starts, it's like a disassembly. It is like a breakdown and and putting the food into its constituent parts. So when we chew an apple, the fiber is removed, the juice is removed, and the juice goes down from our food pipe into our stomach, and the fiber also goes down, but it's removed separately because the fiber has a different role, the juice of the apple has a different role. Then the juice of the apple, the liquid portion, it is cut by enzyme scissors, because it's a very long molecule. It is cut by enzymatic scissors till the time it is converted into smaller molecules. And then finally, each of these constituent things is carried away in the form of either vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, glucose, amino acid, fatty acid, chromium, sulfur. So the apple which you see as whole, it is cut and removed ingredient by ingredient, and each ingredient is then put in a different box and reutilized to form cells, arteries, nerves, hormones, blood vessels. There is nothing like burning happening in this whole process. It is reassembly. The human body is one of the finest machineries ever that would be known, which can reassemble an apple into a human being. So this was never understood by the calorie theory. And in a calorie theory, you'll be shocked to know that besides the fact that it was never meant for human bodies, it also created a lot of problems. Because according to the calorie theory, a sprout chart has higher calories and a bread pakoda has lower calories. So most people who try to lose weight by following a calorie theory end up eating very fattening foods, which unfortunately are mislabeled because of the calorie theory as low calorie foods. And that is the reason that Pepsi and Coke have launched their zero sugar diet drink, which is very, very harmful for the human body. So calorie theory is a destructive theory which is going to harm a lot of human beings. But today, the point of discussion is not the calorie theory. It was just an example of the richness of the ancient people and how they had thought through and come up with far superior ideas and scientific solutions, which unfortunately were lost in the last 1,000, 2,000 years in Indian history. So the Vedic nutrition, what is Vedic nutrition? And the beauty of Vedic nutrition is, or the beauty of the Vedic sciences is, that it connects spirituality with humanity. It connects spirituality with the human body. There is no difference between studying spirituality, studying physics, or studying nutrition. They're all interconnected in the most amazing, profound way, which I never found in medical science. In medical science, I only studied the human body. and a little bit about how it runs, how the physiology of the human body. But I never studied the human body in its completeness, in its comprehensiveness, and we never knew where thoughts come from. We never knew where creativity comes from. We never knew where anger comes from. We never knew where happiness comes from. We just studied a physical body. So it's like if in some alien world, a mobile device, they suppose they find a mobile device on their planet, and they look at the mobile device and think that this device is everything, and this device is actually, and they cut up the mobile device and see some chips inside or some plastic or some, they will never know that there is a software. They will never know that there is an electric current which charges the mobile device, because they just have cut up the mobile device. They have just opened the mobile device, but they don't know the charging, where the electricity is coming from. They don't know the software, how it's running. Because when you open up a mobile, you don't know the software inside. That software is not visible. It's not visible to the naked eye. Similarly, the human body is, the physical body is just a very small portion of the real human being. And this is what I will start sharing now. So I think you have a visibility of my screen.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So Vedic nutrition, you can see the spelling is a little different. So this is the Vedic, what we are practicing. When I initially started the journey, I started as a doctor, and I put together a team of Ayurvedic doctors with me and some nutritionists. And together we formulated a concept which was an integration of Vedic principles, modern science principles, and medical principles. And that is why we gave it a spelling, which is a different spelling, which is called Vedic, which is an integration of these three interdisciplinary sciences. One Health is the website where we are trying to train and to certify nutritionists, doctors, housewives in the science of Vedic nutrition, and also allow them and give them an opportunity to advise patients through that online platform. So that's One Health. But the philosophy, the core philosophy is Vedic. If you see, the Vedic philosophy says, Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande. The microcosm and the macrocosm are exactly the same. The planets, the earth is made of the same energy as the human body. An elephant is made of the same energy as an apple. And the apple is made of the same energy as a human body. We are all made of exactly the same energies. And that is why we can so easily convert an apple into a human body. Because if we were not made of the same energies, we would not be able to eat apple as a food. So what is that energy we are all made of? They're called the Panch Mahabhut, which is the five major cosmic energies. The first is, of course, earth. The second is water. The third energy is fire. The fourth energy is air. The fifth energy is ether. Ether, the cosmic antimatter, the cosmic consciousness. So together, it's also called Shunya. So the Shunya is actually not Shunya, it's not zero. It is everything. It is a cosmic intelligence at work. And this cosmic intelligence at work is driving the creation of matter, the creation of matter from cosmic energy. So these are the five ingredients of whatever you see on earth, right from plants to animals to food to humans, everything is made from this. So like I said, this cosmic energy is in food, it's in human body, it's in the weather also. So even like, for example, the winters is a Kapha dominant season. Summers is a fire dominant season. So winters is a earth and water dominant season. Summer is a fire dominant season. And autumn is a air dominant season. An apple would also have these energies. So an apple has primarily sweet taste, and sweet taste is taste of earth. Similarly, humans also have a predominance of one or the other energy. So even though they have all the, but they have a predominance of one or the other energy. And that is why this is the interconnectedness of humans with the environment and with the food. And that is why when we talk about environmental awareness, when we talk about being a conscious consumer, when we talk about protecting your environment, we are not doing a favor to anybody else, but we are doing a favor to ourselves. The predominant energy, as we know, finally boils down to which is Vat, Pitta, or Kaph, which is air, water, and fire. And these are the predominant energies. Interestingly, if you see, we also have three blood groups, which is O positive, B positive, and AB positive. So somewhere these are in the olden times, they can be compared to the DNA of the modern time. So this is the DNA of our energy. So the DNA is a physical manifestation of energy, but the energetic manifestation is these three energies in our body. Now, when I was talking about the human body, I was talking about that we only see physical body. And as a medical doctor, we will only study the physical body. But we are not a physical body only. We are actually multidimensional. We have more than one bodies which are connected to a physical body. Because when a person dies, they leave the physical elements on the material plane called earth. But we take away the other energy levels, and those energy levels go back where they came from. So, when we talk about a multidimensional energy, humans are a manifestation of a multidimensional energy. So, this multidimensional energy is projected to Earth. It uses the material available on Earth to create a human body. And when that energy has to leave the planet, it leaves the elements from Earth on Earth, which is our dead body, and the life goes back to where it came from. It goes back to the source. Now, what are these multidimensional energies which come from other cosmic realms? So, the physical body is created from Earth, from the planet Earth, which has those five elements of Vayu, of Jal, Akash, Ether. But the next layer, which is the prana layer, the breathing body, it comes from another dimension away from Earth. So the prana layer is basically the layer which is our charging station. It charges and gives electricity. Like what? Like example, when the battery is being charged, when the mobile electricity. Similarly, our human body is being charged by this pranic layer. So this prana or life energy is what is keeping us alive. The next layer is Manomaya Kosh. Manomaya Kosh means what? It means thoughts, it means emotions. When we feel happy, it's an emotion of a higher realm coming to us, which we experience in our bodies. But the emotion has not come from the bodies, it has come from a higher realm. When we feel the divine force, when we feel peace, it does not come from the body, it comes from a higher realm. So, Manomaya Kosh is the thinking, feeling, energy body. And that is why when we feel anger, we leave an imprint, we leave an imprint in the cosmos of anger. When we feel happy, we leave an imprint of happiness on the cosmos. And these are called the Akashic records. Every thought, whether we have done it or converted into deed, everything is imprinted in the Akashic record, which comes from the Manomaya Kosh. So Manomaya Kosh is in direct communication with our Akashic records. The next layer is, so the first layer, I forgot to tell you, is the Annamaya Kosh. It is made from food layer. It is made from products found on earth, which is water, which is food. The second layer I've already discussed is the Pranamaya Kosh, which comes from another cosmic layer. The third layer is the Manomaya Kosh, which is the thinking, feeling layer, which is connected to Akashic records. The next layer is the Vijnanamaya Kosh. It is wisdom, it is intuition, it is insight, it is creativity, it is talent. So when somebody is born a great singer, from the Vijnanamaya Kosh, they have a connection. When somebody creates a new discovery or a new science formula, it comes from the Vijnanamaya Kosh. It does not come from the mind. The mind only is a receiver. It's an antenna. It receives that information. It is not the creator of the information. The information is downloaded from the cosmos. So whether it was Einstein or whether it displacement of water, the buoyancy of water, and he could not find the formula. And one day he was having a bath in ancient Greece. It struck him because at that time he was relaxed, his mind was relaxed, his mind was not working. So when the mind stops working, and if you're connected to the higher forces, they will give you the solution. And he got the solution and he ran naked through the streets of Greece, saying, Eureka, Eureka, I found it, I found it. He did not say, I created it. He said, I found it, because he actually found it. And he found it through the download he received from the other world. So Vijnanamaya Kosh is a very important part because all discoveries, inventions, intuition, everything happens through this. It's a sixth sense. It's a unique sense which comes from a higher realm. And finally, the Anandamaya Kosh, which we are all seeking. It is the connection with the divine. So when our channels open and we connect to the divine, we go into bliss. And that is why it's not taught in medical college. And while we all can see logically, it's also the Annamaya Kosh. It only sees the heart, physical lung, physical brain, physical muscle. But why and how a small fetus multiplies its cells at the right time and becomes a teenager, and at the right time the hormones change and it becomes an adult, and at the right time the adult becomes a senior citizen. All this is cosmically controlled, which has never been taught in medical science. That why do we age? How does a fetus know the length of a finger? How does a fetus know how much to grow and when to stop? So these fundamental questions have never been answered in science. We just know it happens. We don't know how it happens. Now, if we look at the Vedic principle of human body, it is called from the gross to the subtle, from the gross energy to the subtle energy. The gross energy is apple. The subtle energy is the energy which a human body expresses. Travels to become a subtle energy or a very, very, very fine energy are the 7 layers of the Manomaya, of the Annamaya Kosh. So the Annamaya Kosh, the first layer of filtration is the rasa, the plasma. So whatever we eat, it's broken down, and then the small elements, like I said, vitamin A, vitamin B, amino acids, uh, glucose, it all dissolves in the plasma and it's carried to the next layer. It becomes is the next refined energy becomes is blood. So in the blood, you will not see uh, the gross portion by the liver, into finer portions in the blood. So that is the layer 2. This blood carries this food energy to all the cells in a form and shape which the cells recognize. The cells do not recognize apple. The cells recognize an amino acid or a glucose. So the apple has now become an amino acid or a glucose, or it has become a calcium, or it has become a phosphorus. It's changed its shape. And that's what the cells recognize, and that's what the blood does. It gives this food, carries this food, and delivers it to the cells. The next layer is the muscle. So if your blood is weak, your muscle is. You cannot build somebody's muscle if the blood is weak. So this is a very unique understanding as a doctor, which I'm discovering myself. The fourth layer is fat. Any blockage will either create problems in the fat tissue, or if there is no blockage, the fat tissue will be healthy fat tissue. It will be a nourishing fat tissue. The fat nourishes the bone. So people who have a healthy, balanced fat, their bones are strong. People who have a weak bones start becoming weak because the fat dhatu, the muscle dhatu, the blood is not nourishing the next tissue. There is imbalance, there is blockages, there is unhealthy. There are unhealthy ingredients which have come in. The bone nourishes the bone marrow. The bone marrow is the omnipotent cells. In the bone marrow, inside the marrow, the omnipotent and these cells are what we say the parent cells of every cell. From this cell, liver can also form, nerve cells can also form, everything can form. So they are omnipotent cells. And slowly, regenerate the body. Because the regeneration happens through the bone marrow cells. The new cells which are continuously being formed. From one human, you can create another human. So when two humans come together to create the next circle of life, they need a healthy sperm and a healthy ovum. So this is the essence from life, from one life, you create the seed of another life. So while one body is being nourished, it's also creating seeds within its own body, like a plant. If you see plant, it has seeds, and those seeds create the next circle of life. So in a way, we are eternal beings, even in our physical body, which we have to give away, which we have to leave on earth. One portion of us is surviving through our seeds, and these seeds are the sperm and the ovum. So that is the beauty of the human body, that it dies, but it never dies. It lives on and on and on. So what is the goal or function?
ತುಂಬಾ ಟೈಮ್
needs to mute
Of the human health. The goal or function of the human health is ultimate prana, to have life energy, ultimate prana. So when we are balanced, we have a lot of life energy going through us. Breathe. Our breath is strong. We have oxygen reserves, which unfortunately during COVID people did not have. They did not have enough oxygen in their body. We have tejas. What is tejas? It's not only a glowing face, it's also a very sharp intellect, the ability to absorb ideas, thoughts, and transform them, to interpret them. So tejas is sharp mind, glowing face, and dynamic energy. Like prana is vital energy, life energy. Tejas is dynamic energy. What is ojas? Very important. Ojas is immunity, fertility. So if Ojas is down, immunity is compromised. If Ojas is down, fertility is compromised. So these are the three goals of health and life energy. Now, when we look at foods, most people are having an unbalanced diet. They're not having enough water, which is 2 liters of water a day. They are not having diversified grains. They're only eating wheat and rice and wheat and rice. And wheat has many avatars. You have noodles, you have chow mein, you have pasta, you have parantha, you have puri, you have biscuit, you have bread. And we think we are eating diverse grains. No, we are eating only one grain, and that's it, wheat and wheat and wheat. Similarly, rice has many forms. Rice, dosa, idli, uttapam. But it's only one grain we are eating. So according to the Vedas, we have to eat multiple grains. We also have to eat grains which are farmed and harvested over several seasons. We can't only be eating grains which are again and again farmed on the same soil. So crop rotation was a very important part of Vedic agriculture. So as you can see, ragi, jowar, bajra, oats, any local grain which grows, millets. Next year is the year of the millets. The government is promoting it as the year of the millets. Then what is important is fiber. As you can see on the left side, fiber. I'm putting my cursor here. Fiber is very important. Fruits are very important. 50% of our diet should only be fruits and vegetables. It should not be only grains and grains and grains. Similarly, nuts and oil seeds. We must consume diverse nuts and oil seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, cashew nuts. And then, of course, proteins, vegetarian protein, or if you're non-vegetarian, you can have the non-vegetarian protein. So a diverse diet has to have 50% of fruits, vegetables, salads. Now coming to the next thing, how does the time influence our body? The time is divided into 3 zones or times. 10 to 2 is the fire time. Then evening, 2 to 6 p.m. 2 p.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening is air time, when the air or transition is happening. And at night after 6 p.m. to morning 10 a.m., so the night time, which is like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., is the kapha time, is the cold time, is the time when the kapha energy is dominant. Now, what we should not do during kapha time, we should not eat a heavy meal. If you eat a heavy meal, your metabolism is already down, it will get impacted. Similarly, if during the afternoon, in peak summer, especially in a city like Delhi, which is very hot during summers, if you were to eat garam masala, hot spices, eggs, fish, you will get rashes because that is a fire time. So afternoon is the fire time. Night time is the water and earth time. So it's logical that if you want to live with the balance of time, you have to have cooling foods during the fire time and warming foods during the night time, which is soups, and avoid heavy meals at night. Also, the reason for not having heavy meals at night is that nighttime is the time of regeneration, and if you're going to eat heavy meals, your body cannot regenerate or recover. So you will go into accelerated aging. Ayurveda also talks about wrong food combinations, like equal amount of honey and equal amount of ghee should never be mixed. Unequal is fine, but 20 grams of honey with 20 grams of ghee is a toxic combination. Similarly, dairy products with vegetables, especially potato, brinjals, is unhealthy, toxic. Milk with fruit is unhealthy. Grains with non-vegetarian food is unhealthy. And eating fruits along with your meals is unhealthy. So some of these things like hot drinks with non-vegetarian food is unhealthy. In terms of components. Similarly, in the Vedic literature, the benefits of ginger, benefits of trifla, benefits of haldi, benefits of cumin, hing, jaggery, black pepper, they have been given in great detail for every disease type, for every body type. And studying it makes you wonder that why are we not taught nutrition in every school and every college? We can do with a little bit less of other subjects and a little bit more of the subject which is actually going to save our lives in the future. So I also am making an appeal through this that we should all uh, try to convince our schools and colleges to pick up nutrition for every college and every school, so that our future generations are more aware of their food choices, and they don't have to be forced into not eating junk food, but they choose healthy food naturally because they understand the why of good eating. Then what is the process of cooking? Of course, microwave and all that was not discussed in Vedas. That's what I've added. But sprouting, steaming, grilling, boiling, roasting, every food process has a different impact on the food. Like when you sprout, a lot of vitamins get activated. When you steam, it becomes more digestible. When you boil, it breaks down the fibers and makes it easy to consume more fruits. So every cooking process had a certain science behind it. Similarly, for sports people, for people who are very active, a certain diet was recommended. And the same goes for children. That for children, it was important to have all the food groups, fruit as a food group, honey and fruits, or not honey with fruits, but honey as a food group, vegetables as a food group, coconut water and natural beverages like smoothies as a food group. So when we are missing out on certain food groups entirely, we start having deficiency and other disorders. So coming back to, before I end, I would like to mention that we are running online training courses, which we call Vedic Nutrition Online Courses. And this is the website. We have also requested School of Ancient Wisdom that can we conduct some courses in collaboration with School of Ancient Wisdom, so that a lot of people who are already part of the School of Ancient Wisdom can get access to these courses. But we are already in talks, and I hope that your feedback helps us to create those courses with the School of Ancient Wisdom. Our aim is to fight diseases through our kitchens, and in every family to create one Vedic expert, whether it is the lady of the family or the daughter of the family or the daughter-in-law or the father, anybody who's interested in Vedic nutrition, to become the expert in the family. Because good health starts from kitchen. Good health does not come from a hospital. We have to reach the hospital when we have not taken care of our health in the kitchen. And that is why it is extremely important that each family has knowledge, at least one expert in the family who understands the fundamentals of healthy eating. And I have seen Vedic sciences had a lot of logic and a lot of simplicity, but very impactful solutions to modern day problems also. So thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, Shika. That was very interesting. And now that the question and answer forum has been thrown open, anybody may unmute one by one, of course, and ask the question. And Shika will be very pleased to answer you. Else, if you feel shy to speak out, you may type in the chat box and I'll read it out to her so that she can answer. So go ahead, please.
Good evening. My name is Arun Bhagra. Thank you very much, ma'am, for an enlightening experience. Now, I find that most of us are senior citizens. Now, in the Vedic way of looking after health, what would you recommend in a nutshell would be a good diet for senior citizens, vegetarian diet?
So, as in the Vedic philosophy, that every person has to be either a Vata predominant or a Pitta predominant or a Kapha predominant. So the advice varies from the body type. Like for a Vata body type, the advice will be very different. For a Vata person, we might say, please have more of ghee, more of oils, more khichdi, warm khichdi, and please do body massages. For the senior citizen, we might say that if you have any health disorders already, you may need to watch out your oil intake and actually to lighter oils or maybe nuts and oil seeds. For a cough person who might have diabetes or cholesterol or any other cough related disorder already, we might suggest that you might add fiber in your diet.
The fundamental question is, how does one know what type of person you are? What part of,
Yes.
you said there are 3 body types. How do we know which is our body type? Is
Yes.
it to be, can you do it ourselves or we have to consult a specialist like you, doc?
So you can do it yourself. I am putting the name, it's called a Vedic app, VEDIQ.
Right.
If you download the app, it will ask you certain questions and you can get the answers. And based on the answers, you will know your body physiology, your body type.
Thank you very much. I'll download the app and thank you very much.
So in the Vedic app, into body type, there are also some basic diet plans which are free. You can try them and see if you are comfortable.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
You see, I have a fundamental question. It was a wonderful and useful, educative theme as such. But you see, everything being the product of Panchabhutas. Okay.
Yes.
And obviously, an apple and an elephant and a man and everybody is same because that is how we can gel with each other. But how about a poisonous food? It affects the this thing.
So, poisonous foods actually are disruptive foods. The very fact of poison, see, for example, if you put a poison on your skin, it can dissolve inside your skin some of the chemical poisons because some part of the poison is similar to your skin and that is why it can dissolve. But some part of the poison is actually reverse. So if the structure is in the right shape, the poison is going inside in the left shape and it starts breaking down processes. So it immediately kills the body. So that is why poisons are in a structure which are anti-human body. And therefore, in ancient times, the study of every herb and food was done in great detail because sometimes you can see that a poison in a very small quantity became medicine and food in a very large quantity became poison. So it was studied in great detail on what is the quantity, what time. Like for example, honey and ghee in Ayurveda is called the major transporter because medicines which by themselves do not enter the body very well, they were mixed with honey or they were mixed with ghee and then consumed because ghee and honey can go through into the last layer of the human body.
Uh-huh. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It's wonderful. Thank you.
I have a question, Dr. Shika.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for the session. It was really amazing. I'm actually that person in my house who is trying to be an expert in food. So I resonated with everything that you said. In fact, I've always been talking about nutrition being the starting point. Even in the temples where we used to serve, they would always say prasadam is the starting point.
Yes.
Because it can be energized with good thoughts. And a person who's even ignorant, who can't meditate or anything else, if they just start eating that kind of spiritualized food, the
Yes.
consciousness can change. And definitely in schools, and that is one of my areas of passion, Vedic education and hybridized with modern education, that if we introduce this knowledge, everybody, not just the students, but also the teachers and the parents will benefit.
Yes.
So in context of this, one thing was you mentioned fermented. I mean, you mentioned that rice in different forms or wheat in different forms we consume, thinking of it as if it was different varieties of food, like for example idli, dosa, or whatever, uttapam, etc. Now, what about fermented foods? Because idli is an example of a fermented form of rice. Curds, for example, is fermented milk. So I heard that has a benefit. Maybe, of course, if you're talking about A2 milk and not the regular milk, but it has a benefit, is what I heard. So, what is your opinion of fermented food of this type?
Yes. So the process of fermentation was done in many cultures because of the health benefits. Like in Japan, fermented soya milk was made because soya by itself is very gassy and not easy to digest. Similarly, in Germany, a salad called sauerkraut was made specifically. It was fermented cabbage. In India, we had curds, we have idli, we have dhokla, we have chas. So, fermentation is actually a way of improving digestibility and adding some vital elements to the food. So, it's very healthy, and that is why it's one of the ways of adding nutritive value of food. Like even milk, a lot of people do not are not able to digest milk at all, and that's why fermented milk, which is curd, has easier digestibility.
So how do we manage with? I've heard. I mean, speaker last week was saying that actually most people in India are lactose intolerant, and we don't know it. And that is where many milk products. I even heard from a naturopathy doctor, quite a famous one in India. He was saying that milk and milk products are one of the main causes for health imbalances, because most of the milk nowadays comes from A1 milk, and in the olden days, A2 milk came from cows with a much smaller quantity, of course, but it came from cows which are very well looked after. So there is a big difference in the, in the nutritional value of milk now compared to what was earlier spoken about in the Vedic times. So, what is your opinion on that?
I completely agree with that with the naturopath, because not only is the quality of cow rearing terrible nowadays, but also they are forcibly injected with oxytocin. They are given antibiotics in their feed so that they don't get infections, because they are they are tied down at one place. They're not allowed to move too much. So I think we're hardly drinking milk even in transportation, because milk can curdle very fast. So some chemicals are added so that the milk doesn't get spoiled. And ultimately, I don't know if we really are drinking milk or we are drinking a concoction of
Chemicals. Yes. So, is it a good idea then? And what about curds? Even if you make curds from such milk, is it on the whole beneficial? Because I've even heard that milk for children, maybe till the age of 7, A2 milk is good, but after that, we should regulate our milk consumption.
That's true, because after a certain age, a body does not need milk. It actually needs more diversified food, and people who drink too much of milk become deficient, because milk is very filling. It fills you up. So then you have no appetite for having fruits, for vegetables, for salads, for nuts, for oil seeds, because the tummy is too full. And that is why after a certain stage, I think too much of milk can be harmful rather than useful.
And one last question was, I've heard this, I remember Deepak Chopra mentioning this once long back, that we actually, if we look after our health in the modern context, in the ancient context, of course, they had a much deeper knowledge, but in the modern context, where we are more materialistically inclined, and where we're not so aware of our subtle energy systems, if we eat correctly in a Vedic way, we can maybe 70 should be the new 50. People should start aging from 70 and not from 50s, which is what is happening, or maybe even earlier, which is what is happening right now in modern lifestyles.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, I agree, Mr. Ramesh, and I think that's one thing I would wish for everyone, that 70 should be the new 50.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
My name is Rajam Pillai. The Vedic or the surrounding timing, at that time, the maximum of the blessing was Jivama Sharadaha Shatam. You should live for 100 years. And they made the segment Vanaprastha Grahastha, first the 4 segments may actually the social involvement. The boy was not involved when he was a student. He was not involved, the old man was not involved when he becomes Vanaprasthi. As a sannyasi, he's totally detached. I'm a person in 70s and I'm looking for avenues where I can use my thing. So, Annamaya Kosh, yes, but having food by itself, when the Vedic concepts were made, they were not thinking of the 20th century or the 21st century when a child of 2 years or 3 years is using mobile. Today, one Ekadavya doesn't have to go to Dronacharya. I have been a teacher all my life. He doesn't have to go to Dronacharya. Simply he will take a mobile and say, you and your knowledge I don't need. I'm not going to give my thumb to you. So what do you do today? Not when all those people were there. These foods are a luxury today. Actually, I'm a Hindi teacher, so I can say one sentence. WhatsApp में एक आया था, जो गवार है, गवार जो सब्जी होती है, गवार है 100 रुपए किलो. अगर पढ़ी लिखी होती तो क्या होता? Everything what you are advising, are they not meant for this situation, this ecology, this ecology? Sorry. It's a wonderful speech. I would like to imitate you. I would like to quote you. But my basic question is, ये आज के ज़माने के लिए है क्या?
I think that's a wonderful question. And nothing could be more relevant than today. And I'll give you a practical example. When the COVID started, when the whole COVID situation started, we had all our Ayurvedic doctors and we had 2,000 patients who were under our care at that time. Every month we have 2,000 to 3,000 patients who are under our care. You'll be surprised to know we didn't even lose one life, because immediately our doctors started prescribing all the herbs which are good for the lungs, all the pranayamas which are good for the exercising and breathing, and all the precautions which they should do so that the virus does not enter their nose, including a small precaution called nasyam, which is putting oil in the or ghee in both the nostrils. So what we saw was that all these processes were very, very effective during COVID to save lives, which none of the medicines could do. Because medicines, as a doctor, what we were giving medicines which were very new, which we did not know. We were giving steroids because of the huge inflammatory response. But none of the patients whom we were already looking after through Ayurvedic means, through natural nutrition, we did not lose any patient. So what I feel is that the Vedic sciences, while they were ancient, but they had reached a pinnacle of wisdom and understanding. And if we remember that even at that time, the modern temples, the way they are constructed using science, even today's modern science cannot make those temples. If you see the Egyptian pyramids, I do not think that the Egyptian pyramids can be made in today's with today's infrastructure. So what is old? We do not know whether that it was old or whether that was a height of human civilization.
Can I differ from you?
Yes.
Pyramids were made by slaves and not by scholars. Scholars were sitting there and ordering them. We have seen 10 Commandments, we have seen Ben-Hur. We know how Taj Mahal, the कारीगर के हाथ काटे गए वगैरह कहानियां होंगी. कोविड में खाना एक बात, मेरे बेटे की नौकरी गई, मेरी लड़की का कॉलेज बंद हो गया, घर बैठ के काम करो, चारों लोग एक दूसरे को खाने, साइकोलॉजिकली वी बिकेम मैड. एक मास्क हमने लगाया, चेहरे के सारे मास्क हमारे खुल गए. हम लोग कितने बेरहम हैं, कितने सेल्फिश हैं. तो बाय इटसेल्फ मेडिसिन in a modern environment, in an urban life, in 1.5 rooms, how will it work? आप जो तपोवन और वनवास की बात न करें, आज मेरे घर में 2 रूम किचन है और बाथरूम में बहुत अमीर हूँ भाई. So what do we do with the Vedic? How does it is beneficial given those circumstances? आज के हालात में अब बताएं.
So, ma'am, I would encourage you to try it because the best thing is.
अरे यार मैं I am around 80. अभी ट्राई करूंगी तो मर जाऊंगी.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, not at all.
मैं आज थोड़ा जो हलवा खा रही हूँ, हलवा भी बंद हो जाएगा मेरे. दांत गए, आंख गई, सब गए, जाने की तैयारियां. मेरा पासपोर्ट बन गया, खाली वीसा बनना बाकी है. कहाँ मैं नहीं बच्चा बहुत. It was a wonderful speech. Absolutely impressed. लेकिन जिस घर में 50 रुपए का धनिया आता है, बेन, मैं बॉम्बे की दादर में 50 रुपए का धनिया आता है, हम लोग चटनी में डालें कि सब्जी में डालें, यही पता नहीं. आप बताएं.
But I want to say one thing here. Whatever Dr. Shika said just now, I mean, I've met many people from different walks of life, many professionals. It appears to be a very futuristic approach actually, because it is holistic. It includes the mind, body, and spirit. Now, whatever is spoken about, that's why I always talk about hybrid systems, because we have to take the best of what we have in modern sciences, which what everybody is enrolled in because of our 5 senses, kind of world. We're not looking at the 6th sense and others, but slowly it is becoming more and more aware. For example, 40 countries have now started active research and utilizing alternative healing therapies like Kirlian cameras, which modern medicine hasn't yet explored. But I find also, because I have friends in all age groups, some of my friends are in their 90s, and what inspires me about these particular friends is the child in them is very much alive. They know how to live in the moment, and they know how to be happy in the now. And having such kind of elders in the house is like what Dr. Shika was saying, one expert who's a Vedic in the family. Having an elder in the house who is well grounded is such a blessing and such an asset to the family. Many people don't recognize the beauty of having elders around, because they can be the grounding force. When people come back from their work tired and exhausted, when children come back from school maybe disturbed, it is that space, that is ontological space, that is provided by these people who operate from a Vedic perspective, the wisdom of the Vedic perspective. That is the key now to probably the panacea that much of the world is experiencing. So
yes, I would like to add that in fact we have received expressions of interest from an international online education body which is into alternative health sciences, and they are very keen to tie up with us for Vedic nutrition, because what they find is that in their country there is nothing like this available, and most of their students are now looking for alternative and complementary systems of healthcare. So it is interesting because a lot of research in Germany, in France, in US is happening around Vedas. In fact, a lot of textbooks which were translated in English are being researched since hundreds of years, ever since the British came to India. So it's an interesting time, I agree. And I also agree that COVID was a difficult time for all of us. But I think that is the reason that sometimes prayers, mantras, forgiveness, and understanding that we are a spirit body having a physical experience is important. Because sometimes we forget that we are a spirit body having a human experience, and we get entrapped in the highs and lows of a human life, which are always there. The highs and lows, the anger, the love, the abandonment, the friction, everything is there, and that's the whole drama of the human life.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I ask you something, please? If you can explain a little more about the Akashic records, please, ma'am.
So Akashic records is a term which is an Indian term. It has been used and it is very pertinent, and I mentioned it here because the founder of School of Ancient Wisdom, he was also a member of the Society of Madame Blavatsky. Now, this society, for the first time, had started going deeper and deeper into the spiritual science, and
That's
a lot of
Theosophy, is it? Theosophy.
yes, theosophy. And over there, it was mentioned that whatever we do are recorded in an ether zone. All our actions, all our thoughts, all our feelings are recorded in an ether zone called the Akashic records, the etheric records. And when we die, we have those records are open for us to go through and to just analyze that what is the thing which we did, why we did it, what could have been done better, just to analyze our life. So the earth is called a school, a school where our spirit is undergoing education. So Akashic records, I am told, you can also access by certain techniques. Those techniques either you can learn, or if someone who has already learned, you can go and take their support. But these Akashic records tell you about your soul's journey and give you some clues about if you are in doubt. If you're in doubt about yourself, they give you some clues about which help you. They do not do any forecasting, they are not astrology. They just give you some clues about your own soul and help you to make better choices in your life.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any other questions, Jackie?
I have one clarification, I would say. Can you tell us, doctor, suppose a person approaches you for a nutrition consultation, what is the process like? For example, how would you go about, and what kind of fees, and what would be the involvement or investment, and is it one time or frequent?
So actually, sir, I stopped. I do no consultations myself. I'm basically only a evangelist of the Vedic nutrition. I run a company where we have Ayurvedic doctors and nutritionists who are actually the experts. Because I got trained in modern medical science, and I just took it as my life's mission to propagate Vedic sciences. So I'm the what you can say evangelist. For the consultation, one consultation we are happy to offer free of cost to all the members of who have attended today. So there will be no cost. If suppose you decide to join a complete course, which is advisory course or consultation course, and there are different programs available, and starting from approximately 5,000 onwards. So that can be seen once, but the first one I would recommend, if you have any questions about your personal health and you want to talk to a health expert in our team who are trained, certified, qualified, we can extend one consultation free. And once you have done that, then you can make a choice if you want to go for a longer program. We also have educational programs, the academy programs, and those can also be studied. I feel that the academy programs are also very beneficial because you understand the root of the health sciences, and they're very simple to study. They're not very difficult.
Thank you so much. Very nice, very noble work, and I hope you are able to inspire many more doctors like you to model you.
Thank you.
There's one question in the chat box. One of the persons has asked whether sprouts basically should be eaten raw or whether it should be eaten half cooked?
Not about achievement, Sachin.
So, one of my Vedic doctors always tells us that sprouts should be passed through hot water so that they are not completely raw. They are semi steamed.